I never imagined that death could come so quietly. As a doctor, I had seen people slip away countless times, patients whose hands I held as their heart monitors flatlined, whose families cried out for one more miracle. But I never thought I would be the one on the table. It happened on an ordinary afternoon. I had just finished surgery and was heading home when I began to feel a strange pressure in my chest. At first, I thought it was exhaustion. I had been working long hours, skipping meals, drinking more coffee than water. But within seconds, that pressure turned into pain, sharp, consuming, unbearable. I tried to call out to a nurse, but before I could form the words, everything went black. The next thing I remember was a strange awareness, not in my body, but above it. I could see myself lying motionless on the floor of the hospital corridor. People were shouting, rushing to help me. A crash cart rolled in. My own colleagues, people I had trained and laughed with, were now fighting to bring me back. I watched them work, but I felt nothing. No fear, no panic. Just a quiet separation, like a curtain being drawn between two worlds. Then I realized I was dead. What surprised me most was how real everything still felt. The room was brighter, the colors more vivid. I could hear voices, but also something deeper, a hum, like the vibration of the universe itself. Then suddenly the hospital faded. The sounds of the machines, the cries of my wife, all vanished. I was standing in total darkness. It wasn't like closing your eyes, it was a living darkness, thick and heavy, pressing against me from all sides. I couldn't move, couldn't speak. Every memory, every sin, every selfish thought rose up before me like ghosts whispering my failures. I cried out, "God, where are you?" But there was no answer, only silence. For the first time, I understood what separation from God truly meant. Not fire or torment, but an emptiness that consumes the soul. Just when despair began to crush me, a faint light appeared in the distance. At first it was small, like a single candle, but it grew brighter and brighter until it swallowed the darkness completely. And then I saw him, Jesus. Not as an idea or a vision from a painting. He was alive, radiant, more real than anything I had ever known. The light didn't just surround him, it came from him. I fell to my knees, overwhelmed by the weight of his presence. Every thought, every motive of my heart was laid bare before him. He looked at me with eyes that seemed to see through eternity, and yet there was no condemnation there. Only love, deep, burning, unstoppable love. He spoke without moving his lips. His voice echoed inside my soul. You know me as a story, but I am the truth. You called on my name many times for others, but not for yourself. Scenes from my life began to play all around us, as if projected on the air. I saw the day I first became a doctor, the nights I worked to save lives, the times I mocked faith, the prayers I ignored. I saw my wife kneeling beside our bed praying for me when I didn't believe. Then he said, "You thought your skill sustained life, but I am the one who gives it." Tears streamed down my face. I wanted to stay there forever, in that place of absolute peace and light. There was no time, no pain, no fear, just endless love. But then he turned his gaze beyond me, and I saw my wife again. She was still in that hospital hallway, clutching my hand, crying out, "Jesus, please bring him back, don't take him yet." The sound of her voice pierced through everything. Jesus looked back at me and said, "I have heard her prayer, and I have work for you still. Go back and tell them what you have seen." I begged him not to send me back. I told him I didn't want to return to pain, to sorrow, to this broken world. But he smiled and said, "My light must be seen through you. Go." In an instant, the light began to fade. I felt as if I were falling backward through a tunnel of sound and color. Then I gasped. My chest burned, my eyes opened. I was back. The nurses screamed. The machines came alive. My wife collapsed in tears of joy. They said I had been clinically dead for 90 minutes. No heartbeat, no pulse, nothing. But somehow my heart started beating again. Doctors couldn't explain it. They ran tests, scans, reports. There was no medical reason for me to be alive, but I knew exactly what had happened. Jesus had brought me back. In the days that followed, I couldn't stop crying. Every sound, every smell, every sunrise felt different. The world seemed drenched in meaning. I began to see patients not as cases, but as souls. I prayed with them, Some mocked me, some wept, but I no longer cared about reputation or titles. I had seen eternity, and eternity had a face. When I close my eyes, I still see his eyes, eyes that knew everything about me and loved me anyway. To anyone listening now, heaven is not a dream. Hell is not a myth. Life does not end when the heart stops. There is a reality beyond this one, and it is more real than you can imagine. If you're struggling with doubt or fear or loss, I want you to know he hears your prayers, even when it feels too late, even when the doctors say it's over, because I was gone for 90 minutes, and yet his mercy reached me, and if he could reach me in death, he can reach you in life.